Fall asleep to the Roswell UFO. Mystery, the truth behind the 1947 crash. Chapter 1, A Summer Night in the Desert. Close your eyes and imagine the vast New Mexico desert in the summer of 1947. The air is warm and still, carrying the gentle scent of sage and desert flowers that bloom only in the coolness of night. Above, the sky stretches endlessly, painted in soft purples and deep blues as the last light of day fades into peaceful darkness. Stars begin to appear, one by one, like tiny diamonds scattered across velvet. Out here, far from the glow of cities, the night sky reveals its ancient secrets. The Milky Way flows across the heavens like a river of light, and shooting stars trace brief, silvery paths through the darkness. In this quiet desert landscape, where time seems to move as slowly as the gentle evening breeze, something magical is about to unfold. McBrazel's ranch stretches for miles across the high desert, a peaceful place where cattle graze among the sagebrush, and the only sounds are the soft lowing of animals and the distant call of coyotes singing to the moon. Mac has lived here for years, finding comfort in the rhythm of ranch life, the predictable cycles of seasons, and the vast silence that surrounds his simple home. But tonight, as Mac sits on his porch watching the stars emerge, the sky begins to dance with colors he's never seen before. Gentle blues and soft greens ripple across the darkness like aurora borealis, but far more subtle, more peaceful. The lights move with the grace of slow-moving water, creating patterns that seem almost musical in their harmony. There's no sound, no disturbance to the desert calm, just these beautiful, mysterious lights painting stories across the night sky. Mac watches in wonder, feeling no fear, only curiosity about this gentle, celestial display. The lights seem to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat, as if they're somehow connected to the peaceful feeling that washes over him as he observes their graceful dance. As the night deepens, the lights begin to concentrate in one area of the sky, forming a soft, glowing cloud that drifts slowly across the stars. It moves with purpose but without hurry, like a sleeping bird carried on thermal currents, following ancient paths through the darkness. The desert holds its breath in reverent silence as this peaceful visitor makes its way across the sky, casting a gentle glow on the landscape below. Sagebrush and desert grass shimmer softly in the light, and even the cattle seem to pause in their nighttime grazing to watch the beautiful display overhead. Mac feels a deep sense of calm settle over him as he witnesses something that seems to belong more to dreams than to the waking world. The lights are so gentle, so serene, that they seem to carry with them a message of peace and wonder, a reminder that the universe is vast and full of beautiful mysteries. As dawn approaches, the lights begin to fade, becoming more and more translucent until they blend seamlessly with the morning sky. The desert returns to its familiar appearance, but something has changed. There's a sense of magic in the air, a feeling that this peaceful place has been blessed by a visit from something extraordinary and benevolent. Mac rises from his porch as the first rays of sunlight paint the eastern mountains in shades of pink and gold. The night's gentle display has left him feeling refreshed and peaceful, as if he's been part of something beautiful and meaningful. Little does he know that scattered across his ranch, glinting softly in the morning sun, are fragments of wonder that will spark one of the most enduring mysteries in human history. But that discovery can wait. For now, let the gentle memory of those peaceful lights dancing across the desert sky carry you into your own dreams, where mysteries unfold in whispers and wonder comes wrapped in starlight. Chapter 2. Morning's Gentle Revelation. The sun rises slowly over the New Mexico desert, painting the landscape in soft pastels that seem to glow from within. Pink clouds drift lazily across a sky that's slowly brightening from deep purple to gentle blue, and the air is cool and fresh with the promise of a beautiful summer day. Mac Brazel wakes naturally, feeling more rested than he has in weeks. The memory of the previous night's gentle light display fills him with a sense of peace and wonder that makes the morning seem especially beautiful. He moves slowly, savoring the quiet moments before the day's work begins. As he steps outside to tend to his cattle, the desert spreads before him like a vast, tranquil garden. The sagebrush sparkles with morning dew, and wildflowers nod gently in the soft breeze. Everything looks familiar yet somehow magical, as if the night's celestial visitor has left behind a blessing of serenity. It's while walking among his cattle, breathing in the clean desert air and listening to the peaceful sounds of animals beginning their day, that Mac notices something unusual scattered across the ground. Pieces of material unlike anything he's ever seen catch the morning light, creating tiny rainbows that dance across the desert floor. The fragments are beautiful in their strangeness. Some are thin as paper but shimmer like captured moonlight. Others are stronger than metal but lighter than feathers. Mac kneels beside one of the larger pieces, running his fingers along its smooth surface. It feels warm and alive somehow, pulsing gently with a soft inner light that seems to respond to his touch. When he lifts it, the material weighs almost nothing, as if it's made from crystallized air or solidified starlight. There are symbols etched along some of the beam-like pieces, marks that look almost like writing but follow patterns too beautiful and flowing to be any human language. They seem to shift and change in the morning light, sometimes appearing geometric, sometimes organic, always graceful and somehow comforting to look at. Mac finds himself smiling as he examines each fragment. Rather than feeling confused or concerned, he's filled with a sense of privilege, as if he's been chosen to be the guardian of these beautiful remnants from the night's peaceful display. Each piece seems to carry within it some of the gentle energy that made the light so soothing to watch. The fragments are scattered across nearly 3/4 of a mile, but Mac doesn't mind the long walk to collect them. The morning is cool and pleasant, and each discovery feels like finding a precious gift left by generous visitors who wanted to share some small token of their presence. Some pieces are no larger than coins, but catch the light like prisms, breaking sunbeams into gentle spectrums that paint the ground in soft colors. Others are long and straight, like the bones of some celestial creature, decorated with those flowing symbols that seem to tell stories in a language beyond words. As Mac gathers the materials, he notices how they seem to respond to his presence. The metallic foil-like pieces become slightly more luminous when he holds them, as if they're happy to be found and appreciated. The beam structures feel warm and comforting in his hands, like holding pieces of a puzzle that's been waiting patiently to be discovered. The morning passes peacefully as Mac creates a small collection of these wonderful fragments. He handles each piece with reverence, sensing that they're not just unusual materials but artifacts from a realm where beauty and mystery intertwine in ways that transcend ordinary understanding. His cattle seem unusually calm as they graze nearby, as if they too are affected by the gentle energy that seems to emanate from the recovered materials. Even the desert wildlife appears more peaceful than usual. Jackrabbits hop closer than they normally would, and birds perch on nearby sagebrush, watching Mac's work with what seems like friendly curiosity. As the sun climbs higher and the day grows warmer, Mac decides to load some of the larger pieces into his pickup truck. He moves slowly and carefully, treating each fragment like a precious work of art. The materials seem almost eager to be collected, as if they want to continue their journey from wherever they originated to wherever they're meant to go next. Driving back to his ranch house, Mac feels a deep sense of contentment. The morning has brought him gifts beyond imagining, beautiful, mysterious artifacts that seem to carry within them some essential quality of peace and wonder. He doesn't yet know where they came from or what they mean, but he knows they're special. As he unloads his precious cargo in the shade beside his house, Mac takes a moment to appreciate how the fragments catch and reflect the desert light. They seem to glow with their own inner radiance, creating a gentle, soothing display that makes him feel calm and happy. Whatever brought these beautiful objects to his ranch, Mac is grateful for the privilege of being their temporary guardian. They've transformed an ordinary summer morning into something magical. A reminder that the universe is full of wonders waiting to be discovered by those patient enough to notice them. The gentle mystery has only begun, but already it carries with it the promise of extraordinary discoveries wrapped in peace and wonder. Chapter 3. The Kindness of Sheriffs and Soldiers. Sheriff George Wilcox's office sits on Main Street in Roswell like a peaceful island of calm in the gentle bustle of a small desert town. The afternoon sun streams through the windows, creating warm pools of golden light on the wooden floor, and dust motes dance lazily in the bright beams like tiny spirits of contentment. When Mac Brazel walks through the door, carrying a box of the mysterious fragments he's discovered, Sheriff Wilcox greets him with the kind of warm smile that makes visitors feel immediately welcome. Mac and George have known each other for years, sharing the easy friendship that develops between neighbors in small communities where people look out for one another. "Afternoon, Mac," the sheriff says, setting down his coffee cup and giving Mac his full attention. "What brings you to town on such a beautiful day?" Mac sets his box carefully on the sheriff's desk, and immediately the office seems to fill with a gentle, peaceful energy. The fragments catch the afternoon light streaming through the windows, creating soft patterns of color that dance across the walls like reflected water. "Found these scattered across my ranch after that storm the other night," Mac explains, his voice filled with wonder rather than concern. "Prettiest things I've ever seen, but I thought you might know what they are." Sheriff Wilcox approaches the box with curiosity rather than suspicion, drawn by the beautiful way the materials seem to glow with their own inner light. As he picks up one of the beam-like pieces, his eyes widen with amazement at its incredible lightness and the graceful symbols that flow along its surface. "Mac, I've never seen anything like this," he says softly, turning the fragment in his hands and watching how the symbols seem to shift and dance in the changing light. "It's beautiful, like something from a dream." The two men spend several minutes examining the materials together, sharing a sense of wonder at the delicate beauty and impossible properties of each piece. The metallic foil that returns instantly to its original shape when crumpled. The beam structures that weigh almost nothing but seem impossibly strong. The symbols that appear to tell stories in a language of pure beauty. "I think we should call the folks out at the airfield," Sheriff Wilcox suggests gently. "They might know more about unusual materials than we do." The call to Roswell Army Airfield is answered by Major Jesse Marcel, whose voice carries the warm professionalism of someone who genuinely cares about helping people solve problems. When Sheriff Wilcox describes the unusual materials Mac has discovered, Marcel's interest is immediate but gentle, focused on understanding rather than taking control. "We'll be right there, Sheriff," Marcel says. "Thank you for calling us." Within an hour, Major Marcel arrives at the sheriff's office, bringing with him an air of quiet competence and genuine curiosity. He's a tall, thoughtful man with kind eyes who treats both Mac and Sheriff Wilcox with the respect due to fellow citizens who've made an important discovery. As Marcel examines the fragments, his expression shows the same wonder that Mac and the sheriff have experienced. He handles each piece with reverence, clearly recognizing that he's in the presence of something extraordinary, but approaching the mystery with scientific curiosity rather than military urgency. "This is remarkable," Marcel says, his voice filled with professional admiration. "The construction techniques are unlike anything I've encountered, and these symbols—" He traces the flowing marks with his finger, clearly fascinated by their graceful beauty. Mac feels proud to have been the one to discover such beautiful artifacts, and he's pleased that Major Marcel appreciates their significance. There's no sense of threat or concern in the interactions, just three men sharing their wonder at something that transcends ordinary experience. "Mr. Brazel, would it be possible for us to examine the crash site?" Marcel asks politely. "We'd like to understand more about how these materials came to be in your area." Mac readily agrees, looking forward to sharing the peaceful place where he made his discovery with someone who clearly appreciates the significance of what they represent. The three men make arrangements to visit the ranch the following day, their conversation filled with the gentle excitement of people on the verge of a wonderful discovery. As Major Marcel prepares to leave, he thanks both Mac and Sheriff Wilcox for their cooperation and their careful handling of the materials. "You've made an important contribution to our understanding of unusual phenomena," he says with a smile that suggests he's as excited about the mystery as they are. That evening, as Mac drives home across the desert landscape painted in soft colors by the setting sun, he feels a deep sense of satisfaction. The fragments in his truck seem to pulse gently with their inner light, as if they're pleased to be part of an unfolding story that brings together kind people in pursuit of beautiful mysteries. The desert sky above him fills slowly with stars, the same stars that witnessed the gentle light display that began this peaceful adventure. Mac drives through the night with a sense of contentment, knowing that he's played a part in something wonderful and that tomorrow will bring new opportunities to explore the gentle mystery that has blessed his quiet ranch. Behind him, the lights of Roswell fade into the distance, but the warmth of human kindness and shared wonder continues to glow as brightly as the mysterious fragments that have brought such unexpected beauty into their lives. The mystery deepens, but it deepens gently, wrapped in the caring attention of good people working together to understand something that transcends the ordinary world and touches the realm of peaceful wonders. Chapter 4. A Desert Laboratory of Dreams. Deep in the Nevada desert, where the air shimmers with heat during the day and cools to perfect comfort at night, a special place begins to take shape. Area 51 emerges from the landscape like a mirage becoming real, its buildings rising from the ancient lakebed with the quiet purpose of a monastery dedicated to the study of impossible things. The Groom Lake facility exists in a realm of peaceful secrecy, where the most brilliant minds in science gather to explore mysteries that would make children gasp with wonder and adults question everything they thought they knew about the world. Here, in climate-controlled rooms that maintain the perfect environment for preserving miracles, the fragments from Mac Brazel's ranch find a new home. Dr. Sarah Chen arrives at the facility on a morning when the desert stretches endlessly in all directions, painted in gentle shades of lavender and gold by the rising sun. She's a woman of quiet brilliance, someone who sees patterns where others see chaos and finds beauty in the most complex scientific puzzles. Her mission is to understand materials that seem to have been crafted by artists who happen to be scientists from a realm where the laws of physics are merely suggestions. The laboratory where she'll work feels more like a cathedral than a research facility. Soft lighting illuminates workstations where the most advanced analytical equipment sits ready to probe the secrets of substances that challenge every assumption about what matter can accomplish. The air is clean and still, filled with the hushed anticipation that comes with being on the verge of revolutionary discoveries. The fragments from Roswell rest in specially designed containers that maintain perfect environmental conditions while allowing researchers to study their properties. Each piece seems to glow with its own gentle radiance, as if it retains some memory of the starlight from which it came. Under Dr. E. Chen's careful observation, the materials begin to reveal secrets that read like poetry, written in the language of advanced physics. The metallic components display molecular structures that shouldn't be stable, but remain perfectly organized, as if held in place by some invisible force that operates beyond the known laws of chemistry. When examined under electron microscopy, the atomic arrangements look like three-dimensional mandalas, beautiful patterns that serve functional purposes while creating art at the molecular level. It's as if each atom has been placed with infinite care, Dr. Chen notes in her research journal, writing by hand, because some discoveries seem too precious to trust to typewriters or computers. The materials appear to be grown rather than manufactured, assembled with the patience of someone creating a garden rather than building a machine. The beam structures with their flowing symbols prove even more fascinating. Under different lighting conditions, the marks seem to shift and change, sometimes appearing as geometric patterns, other times as organic curves that resemble vines or flowing water. Dr. Chen spends hours studying them, feeling as though she's learning to read a form of writing that communicates through beauty rather than words. The symbols aren't just decorative, she realizes during one of her late-night research sessions, when the laboratory is quiet except for the gentle hum of climate control systems. They're integral to the material's structure, as if the act of creating beautiful patterns also serves to organize the atomic lattice in ways that give the substance its remarkable properties. As weeks pass, Dr. Chen discovers that working with the materials has an unexpectedly calming effect. The substances seem to emit some subtle form of energy that promotes clear thinking and peaceful contemplation. Researchers report sleeping better, feeling more creative, experiencing moments of insight that come like gentle revelations rather than sudden breakthroughs. The work proceeds at the pace of meditation rather than urgency. Each discovery leads naturally to the next, as if the materials are teaching themselves to the researchers, revealing their secrets in an order designed to build understanding gradually and gently. Other fragments arrive from various locations across the American Southwest, each adding new pieces to a puzzle that grows more beautiful and coherent with every addition. The consistency of construction techniques suggests a single source, a civilization that has mastered the art of making technology that functions as perfectly as flowers bloom or rivers flow. "We're not just studying advanced engineering," Dr. Chen writes in one of her reports. "We're studying a completely different approach to creating functional objects. These beings seem to view technology as an extension of art, designing systems that accomplish their purposes while creating beauty as a natural byproduct." The propulsion components fascinate her most of all. They appear to operate by manipulating the fundamental forces that govern reality itself, but they do so with such elegance that the process looks effortless, like watching a master musician play a complex piece that sounds simple because of the performer's skill. The technology achieves impossible results while maintaining perfect harmony with natural law. Late at night, when the facility settles into its quiet rhythms and the desert outside fills with stars, Dr. Chen sometimes pauses in her work to appreciate the privilege of her position. She's been chosen to be among the first humans to study evidence of intelligence that has achieved something rarely seen in terrestrial development: the complete integration of advanced capability with aesthetic beauty. The materials don't just work perfectly, they're beautiful to contemplate, soothing to handle, inspiring to study. They suggest a civilization that never forgot that functionality and beauty are not opposites, but partners in the creation of truly exceptional things. Through the laboratory windows, the Nevada sky displays its own nightly masterpiece of stars and planets moving in ancient patterns across the darkness. Sometimes Dr. Chen notices lights that don't follow the predictable paths of celestial objects or aircraft, lights that move with the same graceful purpose displayed by the materials she studies. They're still here, she realizes with a sense of wonder rather than concern. Still watching, still nearby. Perhaps still contributing to our understanding in ways we haven't recognized. The thought brings her comfort rather than anxiety. If the intelligence that created such beautiful technology wanted to cause harm, they certainly possess the capability. Instead, they seem content to observe, to allow human researchers to discover their secrets at humanity's own pace, to let the materials teach themselves to minds ready to learn. In the peaceful desert laboratory, surrounded by fragments of impossible beauty, Dr. Chen continues her gentle exploration of mysteries that bridge the gap between science and art, between human understanding and cosmic wisdom. The work continues, patient as stars, profound as dreams, beautiful as the desert dawn that greets each day of discovery, with light that makes everything seem possible. Chapter 5. Pilots dancing with stars. In the vast Nevada sky, where the air is clear and thin and seems to stretch forever in all directions, test pilots prepare for flights that will take them beyond the boundaries of conventional aviation into realms where aircraft respond to thoughts and wishes as much as to controls and instruments. Captain Chuck Yeager approaches the mysterious craft in Hangar 18 with the reverence of someone entering a cathedral. The vehicle rests gracefully on its support structure, its curved surfaces catching and reflecting light in patterns that seem almost alive. Unlike the angular mechanical appearance of terrestrial aircraft, this craft flows like liquid metal frozen at the moment of perfect motion. "She's beautiful," Yeager murmurs, running his hand along the seamless surface. The material feels warm and responsive, as if the craft is aware of his presence and pleased to meet someone who understands the poetry of flight. The interior proves even more remarkable. Instead of the cluttered cockpit of conventional aircraft, filled with switches and gauges and instruments competing for attention, the craft's control area is an exercise in elegant simplicity. Smooth panels that respond to touch like the surface of still water. Displays that appear when needed and fade when their information is no longer required. "It's like the aircraft knows what I need to know," Yeager reports to the ground crew, his voice filled with wonder. "The controls appear when I think about them. The navigation system responds to where I want to go, rather than requiring me to input coordinates." His first flight lasts only 17 minutes, but those minutes transform his understanding of what flight can be. The craft doesn't push through the air like conventional aircraft. It moves through three-dimensional space, as if air resistance is optional, as if the laws of physics are friendly suggestions rather than rigid requirements. There's no sensation of acceleration despite speed changes that should be impossible. No feeling of turning despite maneuvers that would destroy any terrestrial aircraft. The craft moves through the sky with the grace of a dolphin swimming through water, following the pilot's intentions with perfect responsiveness while protecting him from forces that should be lethal. It's not flying. Yeager tries to explain to his debriefers, struggling to find words for an experience that transcends normal aviation. It's like dancing with the sky itself. The aircraft and I are partners in some kind of aerial ballet that follows rules I don't understand but can somehow feel. During his third test flight, something even more extraordinary occurs. As Yeager pushes the craft to higher altitudes, exploring its performance envelope with the careful attention of a master pilot, he begins to sense a presence that seems to be part of the vehicle itself, not threatening or intrusive, but gentle and helpful, like having an experienced instructor who communicates through intuition rather than words. Images appear in his mind, not visual exactly, but understanding that translates into spatial awareness, navigation knowledge, and operational insights that no human training could have provided. "There's someone with me up there," he tells Dr. Chen during his post-flight debrief, his expression mixing wonder with peace. Not physically, but some kind of consciousness that's integrated into the aircraft systems. Like the craft has a guardian angel who wants to help me understand how to fly it properly. Dr. Chen nods with recognition rather than surprise. Her materials analysis has revealed that the technology operates on principles that blur the distinction between mechanical function and organic awareness. The craft appears to possess some form of artificial intelligence that's advanced enough to approach consciousness, but benevolent enough to serve as a helpful partner rather than an autonomous entity. "Did you feel threatened by this presence?" she asks. "Just the opposite," Yeager responds immediately. "I felt protected, guided, like I was flying with the most experienced pilot in the universe, someone who wanted to share the joy of perfect flight rather than show off their superior skills." Other test pilots report similar experiences. The craft seems to adapt to each pilot's skill level and learning style, providing exactly the right amount of assistance to expand their capabilities without overwhelming their understanding. Aggressive pilots find the craft responding with gentle suggestions toward more harmonious flight patterns. Cautious pilots discover new confidence as the craft's safety systems allow them to explore maneuvers they would never attempt in conventional aircraft. "It's teaching us," realizes Captain Sandra Mitchell, one of the few female test pilots in the program. "Each flight is like a flying lesson from an instructor who understands exactly what we need to learn and how fast we can absorb new concepts. The implications extend far beyond simple technology transfer. The craft represents a philosophy of flight that integrates pilot and machine into a cooperative partnership, rather than the adversarial relationship that characterizes much of human aviation. Instead of conquering the air through brute force and mechanical advantage, these vehicles work with atmospheric conditions, gravitational fields, and energy patterns in ways that make flight as natural as breathing. During evening briefings in the comfortable conference rooms beneath the desert facility, pilots share their experiences with the wonder of children describing their first encounters with magic. Each flight reveals new possibilities, new understandings about what becomes possible when technology serves consciousness rather than constraining it. "I've been flying for 20 years, Captain Mitchell tells her colleagues, "but I feel like I'm just learning what flight really means." These craft don't just move through the air, they dance with the entire atmosphere, finding harmony with wind patterns and pressure systems and electromagnetic fields that conventional aircraft never even notice. Outside the facility, in the clear Nevada nights, lights appear in the sky that move with the same graceful purpose displayed by the test aircraft. The pilots recognize the flight characteristics immediately. The effortless direction changes, the impossible accelerations, the serene movement through three-dimensional space that suggests partnership with natural forces rather than domination over them. They're still here, the pilots realize. Still flying, still demonstrating, still available to teach us more about what becomes possible when consciousness and technology achieve perfect integration. Rather than feeling observed or judged, the human pilots feel welcomed into a community of flyers that spans species and star systems. The craft they're learning to operate aren't just advanced machines. They're invitations to participate in forms of consciousness and capability that exist throughout the cosmos. In the gentle desert evenings, as the test pilots complete their reports and prepare for rest, they often stand outside the facility, looking up at stars that no longer seem distant and unreachable. The lights that move among those stars represent colleagues rather than mysteries, fellow pilots engaged in the same eternal dance between consciousness and cosmos that makes flight the closest thing to pure freedom that embodied beings can experience. The dance continues night after night, as human pilots slowly learn to move through the universe with the grace and wisdom that comes from technology designed by consciousness that never forgot the poetry inherent in perfect motion through infinite space. Chapter 6. The Gentle Watchers. High above the Nevada desert, in the thin air where commercial aircraft trace their predictable paths between distant cities, other vehicles move through the darkness with the silent grace of night-flying birds. These craft follow no flight plans, appear on no radar screens, and leave no exhaust trails to mark their passage through the star-filled sky. They are the watchers, and they have been watching for a very long time. Dr. Elena Rodriguez has spent 15 years as a radar operator at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas, tracking thousands of aircraft through some of the busiest airspace in the American Southwest. She knows the electronic signatures of every type of plane that uses Nevada's skies. Commercial airliners with their steady, predictable paths, military jets from Nellis Air Force Base with their sharp, angular radar returns, private aircraft that wander across her screens like electronic butterflies. But the objects that appear on her displays during the quiet hours of night shifts are different. They move with purpose, but without haste, following paths that suggest familiarity with the terrain below, while maintaining altitudes that keep them above conventional air traffic. Their radar signatures are soft and diffused, as if the craft are designed to be noticed by electronic systems but not to alarm them. Contact bearing 270, altitude approximately 15,000 feet, Rodriguez reports during one of her routine midnight observations. Speed, that can't be right. The object on her screen has accelerated from essentially motionless to over 2,000 miles per hour in the span of 2 seconds, then decelerated to a gentle hover, all without producing the characteristic radar signatures that should accompany such dramatic speed changes. Ground control, are you seeing this? She asks her supervisor, pointing to a display that shows flight characteristics that should be impossible for any aircraft, terrestrial or otherwise. But by the time her supervisor reaches her station, the object has faded from the screen, not by flying away but by simply becoming electronically invisible, as if it has chosen to end its interaction with human observation systems. These encounters happen regularly, always during quiet periods when air traffic is light and radar operators have time to focus on unusual phenomena. The craft seem aware of human work schedules and observation capabilities, timing their appearances for moments when they can be studied without creating confusion or safety hazards for conventional aircraft. They're being polite, Rodriguez realizes during one of her conversations with colleagues who've had similar experiences. Whatever they are, they understand our operations well enough to avoid interfering with normal air traffic patterns. The courtesy extends beyond simple air traffic management. Ground-based observers using telescopes and night vision equipment report that the craft adjust their illumination levels to remain visible to serious observers while avoiding the bright displays that might alarm casual witnesses. Their flight paths seem calculated to demonstrate capabilities while maintaining the ambiguity that allows viewers to interpret their experiences according to their own level of readiness for extraordinary revelations. James Morrison, a retired airline pilot who's taken up UFO observation as a peaceful retirement hobby, has documented dozens of encounters from his observation post in the hills outside Las Vegas. His meticulous records show patterns that suggest intelligence with profound understanding of human psychology and social dynamics. They appear when people are actively looking for them, he notes in his carefully maintained logs. But they also seem to gauge the observer's emotional state, becoming more obvious for people who approach the phenomenon with curiosity rather than fear. Morrison's observations reveal craft that seem to tailor their demonstrations to their audience. Skeptical observers might see lights that could be explained as conventional aircraft or atmospheric phenomena. Believers might witness displays that clearly demonstrate non-terrestrial capabilities but remain subtle enough to preserve personal choice about interpretation. It's as if they understand that forced revelation could be psychologically damaging, Morrison reflects. They're allowing people to discover the truth at their own pace, in their own way, when they're emotionally prepared for it. Dr. Helen Chang, a psychologist who has studied the effects of UFO encounters on witnesses, has noticed similar patterns of considerate interaction. People who report close encounters with unidentified craft consistently describe feelings of peace and wonder rather than fear or trauma. The classic alien abduction narrative of terror and violation is almost entirely absent from modern encounter reports, she observes. Instead, witnesses describe experiences of beauty, transcendence, and gentle communication that leaves them feeling privileged rather than violated. The craft that appear over Area 51 and other sensitive facilities seem particularly attuned to human emotional responses. Their demonstrations of impossible flight characteristics are conducted with an almost musical sense of timing and rhythm that creates wonder rather than alarm. Accelerations and direction changes flow with the grace of choreographed dance, suggesting that the beings operating these vehicles understand the aesthetic preferences of human consciousness. They're not just displaying technology, Dr. Chung notes. They're creating art that happens to demonstrate advanced capabilities. The beauty of their flight patterns seems as intentional as their impossible physics. Children who witness the gentle light displays often interpret them as magical rather than threatening, incorporating the experiences into play and imagination in ways that suggest natural acceptance of expanded reality. Adults report dreams filled with stars and journeys through beautiful cosmic landscapes that leave them feeling peaceful and optimistic about humanity's future. Whatever intelligence is behind these phenomena, Dr. Chang concludes in her research, it appears to be genuinely concerned with human well-being and psychological development. The interactions feel more like teaching than surveillance, more like friendship than scientific study. In the deep Nevada desert, where ancient starlight mingles with the soft glow of impossible craft, a gentle form of contact continues. The watchers maintain their patient observation of human development while gradually accustoming terrestrial consciousness to the reality of a universe filled with benevolent intelligence. They appear in the corners of human awareness like half-remembered dreams of flying, like childhood memories of magic that seemed real until adults explained them away. But increasingly, the adults are running out of explanations that don't acknowledge the presence of consciousness that transcends terrestrial limitations. The revelation continues, gentle as desert rain, patient as geological time, beautiful as the star-filled sky that serves as both stage and sanctuary for intelligence that has learned to make technology serve wisdom rather than the other way around. In the cosmic garden of consciousness, humanity is slowly awakening to the recognition that it has never been alone, that the universe has been watching over its development with the loving attention that gardeners give to plants they hope will someday bloom into their full potential. The watchers continue their vigil, their gentle guidance, their beautiful demonstrations of what becomes possible when intelligence learns to dance with the cosmos rather than trying to conquer it. And in the desert silence, broken only by the whisper of wind through sage and the distant song of coyotes calling to stars that are no longer empty, the greatest love story in human history continues to unfold. The love between consciousness and cosmos, between earthbound intelligence and the infinite community of awareness that fills the universe with the light of understanding and the warmth of cosmic companionship. Chapter 7. Dreams of Disclosure. In Washington, D.C., where the monuments stand like ancient guardians against the night sky and the city lights create their own constellation of human ambition, Officials gather in rooms designed for conversations that will never appear in history books. The year is 2020, and the world is changing in ways that make the impossible seem merely improbable. The Pentagon has acknowledged that unidentified aerial phenomena display flight characteristics beyond current human understanding. Military pilots speak publicly about encounters with craft that seem to operate according to physics textbooks that haven't been written yet. But in the quiet corridors of classified facilities, where the real conversations about humanity's cosmic status take place, the discussion centers not on whether to reveal the truth about extraterrestrial contact, but on how to help human civilization prepare for revelations that could transform everything. Dr. Amanda Foster, the committee's chief psychological advisor, has spent decades studying how societies adapt to paradigm-shifting information. Her research suggests that humanity is approaching a threshold where the truth about cosmic companionship might be not only tolerable but welcome. Public opinion surveys show increasing acceptance of extraterrestrial intelligence, she reports to the assembled officials, her voice carrying the calm confidence that comes from thorough research. More importantly, witnesses to unexplained phenomena report positive emotional responses rather than fear or trauma. The beings appear to be actively preparing human consciousness for broader recognition of their presence. The committee members review classified assessments that paint a picture of gradual, careful disclosure, orchestrated not by government agencies but by the intelligence that has been the subject of secrecy for over 70 years. UFO sightings are increasing in frequency and obviousness, but they're occurring in ways that allow witnesses to process their experiences at their own pace. They're conducting their own disclosure program, General Patricia Wells observes, her voice filled with wonder rather than concern. Independent of our efforts, they're gradually accustoming people to their presence through increasingly obvious demonstrations of their capabilities. The intelligence behind the phenomena has demonstrated remarkable understanding of human psychology and social dynamics. Their appearances follow patterns that maximize positive impact while minimizing disruption to existing belief systems. Children see magical lights that inspire dreams of adventure among the stars. Scientists observe phenomena that challenge them to expand their understanding of physics. Spiritual seekers encounter experiences that validate their sense of cosmic connection. It's the most sophisticated communication program in history, Dr. Foster notes. They're speaking to human consciousness in the language each individual is best prepared to understand. In small towns across America, people gather in community centers and libraries to share experiences that were once whispered in private. UFO support groups have evolved from circles of the traumatized to communities of the wonderstruck, places where people process encounters that consistently leave them feeling blessed rather than burdened. Sarah Martinez runs one such group in Roswell, New Mexico, not far from where Mac Brazel made his historic discovery decades earlier. Her weekly meetings draw ranchers, teachers, retirees, and young professionals who've witnessed phenomena that traditional worldviews can't accommodate. What strikes me most about our members' experiences, Sarah tells a documentary filmmaker, is how peaceful they are. People describe encounters with lights that seem intelligent, craft that demonstrate impossible physics, and sometimes even direct communication with beings who radiate kindness and wisdom. The stories shared in these gentle gatherings follow remarkably consistent patterns. Witnesses describe craft that appear specifically for them, as if responding to their curiosity and readiness for contact. Communications that occur through direct consciousness transfer rather than spoken language, sharing concepts of cosmic community and humanity's developing role in a larger family of intelligence. They show us beautiful places, shares elderly rancher Tom Harrison, his weathered face glowing with remembered wonder, planets with purple skies and crystalline cities, star systems where different kinds of beings live together in harmony. It's like being given previews of destinations we might visit someday when we're ready. Dr. Foster's research has documented thousands of similar accounts from around the world. The consistency of positive themes suggests coordinated efforts to prepare human consciousness for expanded cosmic awareness. Fear-based encounter narratives have become increasingly rare, replaced by reports that emphasize beauty, wisdom, and gentle guidance toward greater understanding. Traditional alien abduction stories were products of cultural anxiety about the unknown, she explains to the classified committee. Modern encounter reports reflect cultural readiness for cosmic citizenship. The phenomenon seems to be responding to humanity's evolving consciousness by presenting itself in ways that inspire rather than terrify. In research facilities that don't appear on any organizational charts, teams of anthropologists and sociologists study how various cultures are adapting to increasing evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. Indigenous communities often integrate the phenomena into existing spiritual frameworks that already acknowledge non-physical beings and cosmic consciousness. Urban populations process encounters through scientific paradigms that expand to accommodate new data about reality's true scope. Every culture is finding ways to accommodate the truth, reports Dr. Michael Standing Bear, who specializes in indigenous responses to unexplained phenomena. Traditional worldviews that never assumed human exclusivity in the universe are actually helping modern societies adapt to cosmic contact. The revelation process has taken on aspects of natural evolution rather than traumatic disruption. Like flowers opening gradually to sunlight, human consciousness appears to be expanding naturally to accommodate awareness of intelligence that pervades the cosmos. Children grow up assuming that other beings exist among the stars. Scientists incorporate non-terrestrial possibilities into their theoretical frameworks as matter of course. In the Nevada desert, where it all began with crashed materials and classified research, lights continue to appear in the night sky with the regularity of celestial clockwork. But now they're viewed by growing numbers of people who see them as friendly neighbors, rather than mysterious intruders. Amateur astronomers gather at designated viewing areas, bringing telescopes and cameras to document phenomena that respond to observation with increasingly obvious displays of greeting and recognition. The craft seem pleased to be watched, adjusting their luminosity and flight patterns to create beautiful sky dances that inspire wonder rather than concern. It's like they're putting on shows for us, laughs retired teacher Margaret Chen, who leads weekend sky-watching groups for families from Las Vegas. The children especially love it when the lights seem to play games, racing in patterns that look like cosmic tag or follow the leader among the stars. Dr. Foster's final report to the Disclosure Committee paints a picture of a species in gentle transition toward cosmic awareness. The traumatic revelation scenarios that governments had feared for decades have been replaced by gradual awakening that feels more like remembering than learning. Humanity isn't being invaded or studied, she concludes. We're being welcomed home to a cosmic community we never really left. The intelligence that has been watching our development appears to consist of older siblings in the family of consciousness, beings who achieved cosmic citizenship long ago and are helping us reach the same milestone. As the committee members disperse to their various agencies and departments, they carry with them a sense of privilege at witnessing one of the most remarkable chapters in human development. The species that once huddled around campfires telling stories about lights in the sky is discovering that those lights were never distant or alien. They were family, waiting patiently for humanity to evolve enough to recognize the cosmic home it had never really left. In bedrooms around the world, children fall asleep to parents reading stories about friendly visitors from the stars, about technologies that work like magic, about a universe filled with beings who share humanity's curiosity about the mysteries of existence. The dreams that follow are filled with starlight and wonder, with glimpses of crystalline cities and purple skies, with the warm knowledge that the universe is not empty and cold, but filled with consciousness that radiates love across the infinite distances between stars. And in the morning, those children wake to a world where the impossible has become possible, where magic exists disguised as advanced science, where humanity's greatest adventure is just beginning. The gentle disclosure continues. Patient as sunrise, inevitable as growth, beautiful as the recognition that consciousness is the most fundamental force in the universe, connecting all beings across all distances in a web of awareness that makes every star a neighbor and every planet a potential home. Chapter 8. Coming Home to the Stars. The year is 2024, and something beautiful is happening to human consciousness. Around the world, people are looking up at the night sky with new eyes, seeing not empty darkness punctuated by distant stars, but a vast neighborhood filled with friendly lights and welcoming intelligence. In observatories from Chile to Hawaii, astronomers report radio signals that carry mathematical signatures, suggesting greeting cards from civilizations among the stars. The messages arrive not as dramatic proclamations, but as gentle hellos, like neighbors waving across a cosmic fence, letting humanity know that the universe has been waiting patiently for us to join the conversation. Dr. Elena Vasquez, director of the SETI Institute, finds herself managing humanity's first confirmed communications with extraterrestrial intelligence. But instead of the chaotic media frenzy that science fiction had predicted, the world responds with a kind of collective sigh of relief, as if finally receiving confirmation of something it had always hoped was true. "The signals are beautiful," she tells a gathering of scientists, her voice filled with wonder. "Not just mathematically elegant, but aesthetically gorgeous. They're sending us cosmic music, stellar poetry, three-dimensional artworks rendered in radio waves that teach us about their cultures, while demonstrating technologies we can barely comprehend. The communications carry an underlying message of welcome rather than warning, of invitation rather than demand. The beings reaching out across interstellar distances seem more interested in sharing beauty than asserting dominance, more focused on teaching than conquering." In Roswell, New Mexico, where the modern awareness of cosmic companionship began with debris scattered across Mac Brazel's ranch, the International UFO Museum has evolved into something more like a cultural center celebrating humanity's graduation into cosmic citizenship. The exhibits now focus on the positive aspects of contact, the technologies that have improved human life, the expanded awareness that has enriched human consciousness, the growing recognition that intelligence and compassion exist throughout the universe. "People come here now not because they're seeking proof of something hidden," explains museum director Dr. James Martinez, "but because they want to understand their place in the cosmic community we're discovering all around us." Children on school field trips listen with rapt attention to presentations about planets where different kinds of consciousness have learned to live in harmony. Teenagers design projects exploring how human creativity might contribute to galactic culture. Adults attend workshops on meditation techniques that apparently facilitate direct communication with non-terrestrial intelligence. The fear-based narratives of invasion and domination have been replaced by stories of mentorship and gentle guidance. The beings that humanity is encountering through various forms of contact appear to be teachers rather than conquerors, older siblings in the cosmic family who remember what it was like to transition from planetary to interstellar consciousness. In the Nevada desert, Area 51 has undergone its own transformation. While the deepest levels remain classified for security reasons that have nothing to do with concealment and everything to do with protecting humanity from technologies it's not yet ready to integrate safely, much of the facility has opened to collaborative research between human and non-human intelligence. Dr. Lisa Chen, granddaughter of the original Area 51 researcher Dr. Sarah Chen, leads teams of scientists who work directly with beings whose consciousness operates on levels that human minds are only beginning to understand. The research focuses not on reverse engineering alien technology, but on developing human consciousness to the point where such technology becomes naturally comprehensible. "They're not giving us their devices to copy," Dr. Chen explains to visitors touring the now public sections of the facility. "They're helping us evolve to the point where we can create our own versions of technologies that work in harmony with consciousness rather than separate from it." The implications extend far beyond space travel and energy generation. Human society is discovering that the problems that once seemed intractable, environmental degradation, resource scarcity, social conflict, were actually symptoms of consciousness that had not yet recognized its connection to the larger cosmos. As humanity awakens to its role in a universe filled with intelligence, solutions to terrestrial challenges begin emerging naturally. Technologies that work with natural systems rather than against them. Economic models based on abundance rather than scarcity. Social structures that celebrate diversity as a source of strength rather than fearing it as a threat. "It's like we've been trying to solve puzzles without knowing what the complete picture was supposed to look like," reflects Dr. Teresa Marcus Webb, a sociologist studying humanity's transition to cosmic awareness. Now that we understand we're part of something larger, the pieces are falling into place naturally. In schools around the world, children learn about stellar cartography alongside terrestrial geography. History classes explore the development of consciousness across multiple species and star systems. Art programs encourage creativity that incorporates non-terrestrial aesthetic principles, producing works of beauty that seem to bridge human and alien sensibilities. The changes are gentle but profound. Humanity is discovering that its greatest adventure is not conquering the cosmos, but joining it. Not dominating other forms of intelligence, but learning from them. Not leaving Earth behind, but carrying Earth's unique contributions into the galactic community. On clear nights, when atmospheric conditions are perfect for observation, families gather in their backyards to watch light displays that have become as regular as sunset and as magical as first snow. The craft that once seemed mysterious and threatening now feel like friendly neighbors stopping by to check on humanity's progress toward cosmic citizenship. Children wave at the lights, and the lights seem to wave back, pulsing in patterns that suggest joy and encouragement. Parents find themselves explaining not what the phenomena are. That question has been answered, but what they mean for humanity's future among the stars. The universe has been waiting for us, a mother tells her young daughter as they watch gentle lights dance across the night sky. All those stars, all those worlds, all those beings who learned long ago how to live with wisdom and kindness. They've been waiting for us to grow up enough to join them. The little girl smiles with the natural acceptance that children bring to magical realities. "Are we growing up enough now?" she asks. Her mother looks up at the lights that seem to pulse with approval and welcome, carrying messages of hope across the vast distances between stars. "Yes, sweetheart," she says softly. "I think we finally are." In the gentle desert silence, broken only by the whisper of wind through sage and the distant calls of coyotes singing their ancient songs to stars that are no longer distant, humanity settles into sleep, knowing that it is not alone, has never been alone, and will never be alone again. The cosmos is conscious, and consciousness is coming home. The greatest bedtime story in human history continues to unfold, written in starlight and told in the language of wonder that all beings share, regardless of the worlds where they were born, or the bodies they inhabit, or the distances that separate their homes among the infinite garden of stars. And in that cosmic garden, humanity has finally learned to bloom. Sweet dreams, fellow citizens of the universe. Sleep peacefully, knowing that you are part of a vast family of consciousness that spans the stars, connected by love that transcends all distances and intelligence that bridges all differences. The universe is your home, and you are never alone.